Was
Is this where the speaker's at right here?
no, that's
I don't know that Adam thought he might come tonight.
Yeah, we just want to make sure, if it's something they get fixed, we want to make sure they get it fixed before.
They do have a three-level.
Yeah, before they get that top lift paved.
Here's the one that we saw.
And you look at all the
Jason
plans
and
of everybody's
both.
field ideas,
And there's some
what they
stretches
can
of.
do.
Yeah, it's gonna be late.
Yeah.
They got.
Yeah,
It's a lot of work.
I was actually just talking to Jacob about that today, so I'm glad you had a copy of this one.
Well, that is the
But that's
one.
probably the hottest.
Yeah, I'm just gonna,
to talk about.
I'm gonna save them and I'll get it back to you later this week.
Baseball. Most pools are staying closed.
I saw Wild Water West announce they're gonna open.
They're not real happy about that,
Sioux Falls isn't? Or just the
because of all the touching of it, I mean,
lines?
it's really liability, even. That's why Sioux Falls is probably not, because you have to have a full-time bathroom attendant, including, you can't have benches, you can't have slides on, you can't have wherever they're constantly. And then South Dakota Assurance Alliance, that we have our insurance through, they've got, if you go on that, they've got some standards set up for parks and softball, baseball.
Yeah, we can talk about it, parks report, but it's,
Yeah, it's 7.
All right,
No, maybe there's some people online waiting to watch this thing get going.
okay, we'll call a meeting to order. Tobias, if you'd like to take a roll call, please.
Henning. Present. Bring in.
here.
Marr.
Yep.
Richards.
Here.
Beat.
Here. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And a short prayer. Dear Lord, thanks for continuing to watch over us. Please keep the weather coming. The farmers could use a little rain coming up, and watch over all the health workers and frontliners and take good care of them. In your name we pray. Amen. Okay, is there a motion to approve the posted agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on it? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Consent calendar. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on it? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Okay, approve the meeting minutes for the last two meetings?
Already done.
Okay, that's all done. Down to public hearing. Petition to rezone certain property in Crooks. It's a Crooks Housing Redevelopment is asking for the zoning, and that's where we burnt the house down with the future in mind is the new child care. So this, we need motion.
Anyone opposed?
Anybody here, yay or for, or?
Yes, do it. Close it.
So we need a motion.
Yeah.
Okay, a motion to approve to rezone.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Open comments. All right, we'll move on to reports. Park report, Andrew?
Well, as some of you heard, we were talking up here before the meeting about the parks. There's been a lot of conversations about baseball and softball going forward. And this is a very fluid situation that we're dealing with, unfortunately, and we have a hard time to figuring out what we really need to do. I know that I text Butch a couple of things today about Hartford, Brandon, Sioux Falls. As far as dates that they're looking at, it looks like they're all pointing towards the end of May, to the beginning of June, to having discussions about, or decisions about, what they will be doing with the parks. Right now, most of them are centered around, they don't want team activities at all in parks. But of course, our parks are open, and I would certainly encourage anybody to use our parks, except for, I think we need to continue with the non-team activities. And I had someone contact me last night, and they thought they may be here tonight about practicing softball. Now, unfortunately, with the guidelines that the USA South Dakota Softball is coming up with, and I can go over those, a few of those with you, everybody has to have their own bat, everybody has to have their own helmet, everybody has to maintain social distancing, which is 6 feet apart from each other, no more than 3 people in the dugout at a time. They're talking about having the umpires, instead of standing behind the catcher, that they would stand behind the pitcher and make calls from out there. Those are just some of the things that they're talking about that may have to be enforced. Limits on number of fans that can be in attendance. These are all things that they're looking at. And of course, I don't know if you guys have heard or not, MNDAC has canceled for the summer. That's the, 4 through 12 baseball. Teeners have canceled, which would be the 14U and the 16U. And as of 2 nights ago, South Dakota Legion was going to go until the National Legion said, no, you cannot. So there's a lot of things that we're looking at. Numbers in Sioux Falls have gone up significantly in the last few days. And I know that they're attributing that to Smithfield testing, doing a mass testing last week, and that's why they're attributing those 125 average basically for the last 4 or 5 days. Unfortunately, I don't think we've really seen the start of it here yet, but I think I'd like to continue on with the no team sports until we have a little bit better understanding in about 3 or 4 weeks of where this is going. If the numbers drop down again and it was because of that, maybe we can look at allowing the parks to be open for team activities. I know that Chad has opened up and set up the batting cage, which, if a dad wants to go down with his son or daughter and do some batting practice, I don't see anything wrong with that, but I would like to continue with the no team activities in our parks, at least for the time being. And if it comes down to it in a few weeks from now, everybody else is opening up, and I don't want to say that we're following everybody else blindly, but the restrictions that these organizations are putting forth, I think, preclude us to keep our parks closed to team activities. I don't know.
I just add to it that the mayor's talk once a week now, and Paul Tenhaken pretty much does the invite, so all the mayors from Garrettson, Baltic, Colton, Hartford, T, Harrisburg, Canton, just everybody wants to be on the same page with this. So they are asking ball associations, or whatever you want to call it, the organized, to give a plan of what you would do and how you would do it, with the idea that maybe the 1st of June, we would open up, but it, so it's all in talking, but what Crooks does, Sioux Falls wants to do, you know, everybody wants to be the same. Most of them are not opening their pools. A couple are, but they see a lot of problems with that. So the Tri-Valley Ball Association is getting me a 3-level plan. But again, it's all based on all the towns together doing the same thing, and then the level of the positive cases staying where they're at. The reason that it's going back to normal, and we've opened parks up, we haven't opened bathrooms, but is really because Sanford and Avera have said we can handle the hospital load at this point. So that's what they're going by. If it looks like the hospitalization rate is gonna go up, and then that could change everything a week from now or 2 weeks from now. But that's strictly what they're looking at. They know it's gonna go up, but they figure if it looks like it gets to the point where they can't handle them in the hospital, then there'll be some changes made with this back to normal. So. All right, street report. Jacob.
Homeowner is moving forward. All the driveways will be poured tomorrow. As far as concrete goes, then Dunnick's gonna be in Wednesday to finish up any asphalt repairs that they need to make from stuff that fell over the winter. Then they're gonna start shaping up the street, and I think, Jesse, early next week, they're gonna start paving.
That's the plan at this point, yeah. We got a progress meeting tomorrow with the contractor, so.
Okay. That's what it sounded like. Well, sometime next week, expect asphalt to be going down out there, so.
I have a question.
Yes.
On the parking on Executive Avenue, is the city gonna put some signs up there, no parking on one side? Because you can't have cars parking on both sides because you made the street smaller. And you can't have two lanes of parking there and try and get through there. You
What?
really need to have no parking on one side or the other.
So, we won't add any additional signage during construction, because that's up to
No, I
up
mean
to the
after the
contractor to do.
streets are done.
After the streets are done, we'll assess it. Prior to construction, people were really good about not parking on the street. So I expect now that everybody's driveways are done and they're able to get back in their garages, I expect that within 2 weeks, people will be off the street again. But if it's an issue, we do have an ordinance where you're only allowed to park on the street for 24 hours, and then you gotta move.
Well, I have a neighbor, I've seen 7 cars over there at one time. So they really need to enforce some of this stuff because, I mean, we've got enough room to park, we only have 3 cars. But when they have 7 cars over there, and that's up in the circle, which isn't as bad as Executive Avenue, but still, you know, there needs to be a little bit of change here and make people park in their driveways, or, I don't know. I'm really tired of their 7 cars over there.
Yeah, we'll check it out after we get driveways in and the asphalt done, people can start using their driveways and garages again, definitely.
Okay,
Yep.
I'll watch for it.
And I also see they're working on Palmyra Park in the back, getting some grading done, maybe ready to seed. When I was down there today.
Yep, they were out there with their tiller, but it was still a little too wet. There were still kind of some clumps, so they're gonna come back tomorrow to try to get all the clumps broke up so they can get it final seeded.
Okay.
I see we have possibly a three-way stop sign going in at 6 and Oak. Has that gone in already?
No, it was, the neighbors asked about a three-way stop there, so I put it on for discussion.
Sure. Just stop signs, so the stop sign design is really based on accident areas. Typically in residential areas, even in a four-way intersection, you don't see stop signs. At the most, you'll see maybe a yield sign. And the stop signs are really just designated for areas where there has been a past crash history. It seems like a really poor reason to be putting stop signs in is because of that, but in this case, to me, it doesn't make sense to put a three-way stop in there. If anything, you'd just put one in on Oak. But that should be, I mean, you're gonna have to come mostly to a stop on that anyways because of the T intersection.
Yeah, it's just a high-speed traffic there, and the neighbors asked me to bring it up. The next thing was a speed bump.
Like
We've
we
already
put down
put,
south?
I bought signs and put up myself, yard signs that say kids, and the sheriff has a
A
portable
speed trap out there.
speed trap there, but